Dear students, in this session I am going to explain quality management in stores. So in this session you will be able to learn various activities involved in ensuring quality during receipt, storage and delivery of items stocked in stores. You will also learn receiving, inspection and testing, how controls to be exercised during the storage of items, and how the inspection and testing before delivery items to be done. What are the various techniques of sampling, inspections, qualification of suppliers, control of inspections, measuring and testing equipments, you will also learn. And finally, what are the qualification of suppliers, what is the third party certification and quality during storage practices, you will be explained. So let us understand what is quality management in general. So when we say quality is nothing but it is a degree of excellence or fitness for purpose, and more technically it can be defined as a degree to which product conforms to the desired specification or standards. Because store function involve planning, scheduling and controlling of materials from raw material to in a manner consistent with the quality, cost and utilization of facilities. So it is very important that the quality is to be ensured, especially for the materials which are being used for subsequent stages once it has been received. So activities involved in the quality control in stores are qualification of suppliers, receiving, inspection and testing, ensuring quality during storage, and pre-dispatch inspection and certification before delivery to the user, certification for quality of each product as per the standard set therefore. What are the different types of inspections? Because in order to ensure the quality, the inspection is done. So inspection could be either 100% or it could be using certain sampling technique, or we call it a sampling inspection. So there is always a debate between whether we should go ahead with a sampling inspection or 100% inspection. So both has got merit and demerits, and sampling inspection by and large provides better efficiency and accuracy in the inspecting the quality of the materials rather than going for 100% inspection. Let us understand one by one the advantages or merits of each type of inspection. So in case of 100% inspection, cost of inspection is very high due to increase in the volume of activity involved, more time consuming, more chance for damage to items during inspection due to large number of materials to be handled, less accurate because of the high inspection error. Why high inspection error? Because of the process is quite lengthy, longer, the personnel involved in the inspection may get fatigued, and because of the monotonous nature of the inspection. Next, not feasible when destructive test is required. Less incentive to the suppliers for improving the quality because all good items are accepted and only the defective items are rejected. So basically it is essential for controlling the critical items where the risk of failure is quite high, that thereby a person needs to inspect the quality, needs to inspect all materials for the quality. Next is sampling inspection. Cost of inspection is low because less number of units are to be inspected, is less time consuming, it less chance of damage due to item during inspection due to small number of samples are handled. The more accurate since specialist personnel could be employed for carrying out inspection and testing. The sampling inspection is more feasible to employ destructive testing and also for carrying out the specialized testing. Due to the risk of rejection of the entire lot when the defectives are observed, supplier takes effective measures to improve the quality. It is quite natural that based on the sample, the entire consignments or materials are either accepted or rejected. Some risk is involved due to sampling error resulting in the acceptance of bad lots and rejection of the good lots. Now it is very important that when sampling inspection is being followed, what should be the required number of non-conforming items or units, or we say maximum number of non-conforming units in each sample. So this maximum number of non-conforming units permitted in each sample taken for inspection is known as an acceptance number. In sampling inspection, a decision regarding the acceptance or rejection of a lot is taken based on the number of non-conforming items found in the sample. So acceptance number is dependent on the acceptable quality level, and AQL, which is also known as AQL, and AQL is a designated value of percentage of non-conforming units, means or non-conformities per 100 units that will be accepted most of the items by designated sampling scheme. So designated AQL shall not imply that supplier has a right knowingly to supply any non-conforming units of the product. So in order to ensure the reliability of sampling inspections, it depends upon what is the size of sample is being taken for inspection, what is the representativeness of the sample in relation to the lot being examined, and the method of selection of the sample. It is always preferred to have homogeneous lot from the sample. Mixing of lots from different sources should be avoided. Products received from the same source but at different times should also be treated as a separate lots to maintain the homogeneity of the sample. So larger the size of the lot, less is the inspection cost per item, but definitely there is a limit. The sample should be selected randomly. Now there are various methods of selecting the sample randomly. First is simple random sampling, second is systematic sampling, third is a stratified sampling method. Now when we say simple random sampling means all items in the lots are serially numbered and random numbers are generated using the scientific calculator Excel sheets to select the samples. When we say simple random sampling means every unit has got the same chance of selection as compared to any other sampling unit. Second is a systematic sampling. So items which are presented in sequential manner, samples are selected systematically at regular interval of position or time so that total number of samples required are selected from the entire lot commencing from the start of the lot till the end. Let us say lot size is n, capital N, and sample size is small n. Then the integral part of the n upon n's provide the interval for selecting the sample. Suppose there are 100 units lot size and each lot size you are selecting 20 units, there will be a 5 intervals. So 20 units interval. That is starting from around the beginning inventory. So our sample is picked up till requisite number of samples have been selected. Third is a stratified sampling where lots can be divided into certain number of more homogeneous groups or strata and each stratum is sampled separately. Next is sampling in stages. When the lot is presented in large number of packages with each package containing a certain number of items, the first random samples of packages are chosen and then from each of the package so selected the random samples are picked up to make up the required sample size. Next is sampling of bulk materials. So in case of bulk materials like cement, it may be necessary to prepare a composite sample of the numbers of samples drawn from the different bags. As samples collected randomly from different bags are mixed together and required quantity is taken for carrying out the inspection and testing. So coning and quarterning is an appropriate method which are adopted for reducing the quantity of sample without sacrificing the homogeneity. Now, what should be the number of inspections? It should be a large number of inspections, it should be normal, tightened or reduced. It should be identified carefully. So normal inspection is carried out initially depending upon the results obtained during the successive inspections carried out on the lot supplied by the same supplier. Subsequent inspection may be tightened or reduced depending upon the quality of materials or inspections shipments received. Sample sizes and acceptance criteria have to be specified for normal, tightened and reduced inspections for each level of inspection. Now, because sampling plan is very important to decide whether to accept or reject the entire lot or not. So it can be classified as attributes plans or variables plans. In attribute plans, units inspected are classified as in binary form like conforming or non-conforming. Just through the visual inspection, the materials may be classified as a conforming or non-conforming. So the number of non-conforming is then compared with the acceptance number for the acceptance or rejection of the lot. In case of variable plans, the samples which have been taken are measured of a specific quality characteristic which is made of each unit rather than just looking and visualizing whether it is good or bad. So the samples are being measured using specific measurement units. So measurement data is summarized statistically and compared with the allowable value in the defined plan. We call it as also the control limits. So store department generally uses attribute plan for acceptance of products materials. So there are 3 types of sampling inspection plans for inspections by attributes or count of defects. One is single sampling plan, next is double sampling plan, and third is the multiple sampling plan. So when we say single sampling plan means acceptance or rejection of the entire lot is based on the single inspections or one-time sample selected from the lot. So in this plan, number of sample to be inspected and acceptance numbers, basically C's, are specified. So required number of samples are drawn and inspected if the number of non-conforming items is equal to or less than the acceptance number, the lot is accepted. Otherwise, the entire lot is rejected. The size of sample inspected is largest in case, because we are expecting a single lot to accept, reject entire consignment. Next is a double sampling plan. So in this case, first sample is taken from every lot inspected. Results obtained are used to accept the lot or reject the lot, or to reserve the decision until the further information from the inspection of the second sample is obtained. So the number of samples inspected in this plan is usually less than the single sampling one. Means in 2 stages you finally decide about whether the shipment should be accepted or rejected. In case of multi-stage planning or multiple sampling plan, the process is similar to double sampling, but there are 7 stages. So decision will be reached by the 7th stage or earlier. In general, total number of samples inspected in this plan is usually less than 30% than the double sampling plan. Let us understand the double sampling method. Let's say U1 unit of a first sample is taken, and you have decided what is the number of non-conforming units in the sample. If number of non-conforming units in the sample is less than the acceptance number 1, that is C1, so entire consignment will be accepted. So on the top. If it is more than acceptance number C1 but less than C2, so a second unit of sample is taken, and in that case, if the number of non-conforming unit in both is less than C2, so entire lot is accepted, and if it is more than C2, then 100% inspection of the whole from the rest lot is being chosen. So in third, if number of non-conforming units as a sample is more than C1, also in that case 100% inspection of the whole from the rest of the lot is being chosen. So in the case of multi-sampling method and double sampling method or single sampling method, we need to decide about the plan carefully. Next is the inspection, measuring and testing equipment. So inspection of materials are to be done through a proper testing equipment, and there has to be proper and reliable measurement that should take place. So inspection, measuring and testing equipment contribute significantly to the reliability of inspection and test results. So this include both test hardware and software used for testing as well as for sampling. It also includes jigs and fixture used in inspection and testing, and comparative references and certified reference materials, that is CRM. Depending upon the measurements to be made and accuracy required, appropriate IMT is being selected. So error attributable to the measurement is to be as small as possible. Calibration of IMT before it is put to use be done, and later at defined intervals against certified equipment having known and valid relationship with the nationally recognized standards. So identification and calibration status of IMT through suitable records to be done. It should maintain the calibration records indicating the calibration result. Safeguarding IMT from unauthorized adjustment that would invalidate the calibration setting. So now if we want to qualify suppliers to ensure the suitability of purchased product before initiating the procurement action, suppliers to be evaluated and qualified. Qualification of supplier depend on the nature and amount purchased, the product which has been purchased, the importance of quality in the overall quality of the organization product, and the feasibility and cost involved in the evaluating and qualifying of the suppliers. There are various stages which involve in evaluating suppliers. One is on-site verification of the supplier's capability to continuously supply products conforming to the specified requirements, both in terms of quality and dependability. Second, simultaneously, the quality control exercise by the supplier is evaluated, means what is the quality management practices the supplier is following. So these needs to be evaluated by the organization, and a joint quality control program can be established. Supplier is required to implement the agreed quality control program and provide evidence by way of test certificates or inspection. Third-party certification like ISO 9000 standards may be required. So receiving, inspection and testing. On the receipt of the materials, there is a process like it must facilitate efficient service acceptance, especially for the manufactured component. Verification source should be applied selectively. The level of verification required may vary according to the nature or type of product or services. An evaluation of a sample from first production lot at supplier's premises before dispatch would ensure the conformance of the design to specified instruments. Thereafter, the lots could be inspected on receipt of the stores. This process would reduce the risk of large rejection of the product due to basic design non-conformance. And as I have told that inspections to be categorized in various forms, like whether you should go for 100% inspection, sampling inspection, just for identity check, no inspection, or we can just rely on the use of supplier data. So it is quite customary that supplier provide a test certificate to provide evidence of results obtained during the inspection and testing carried out in the premise. So there is a general format for receiving inspection testing. So details of inspection testing be carried out before acceptance of the product are specified either in the procedure or quality plans. So inspection requirements could be conveniently specified in a table form that is containing like a characteristics, requirements, methods of inspection and testing equipments used, sample size, sample frequency, lot size, acceptance criteria, and remarks. So when we look at the characteristics, so any item is defined in terms of different characteristics. Like in case of cement, the characteristics could be compressive strength of cement after 1 day, 3 days, and 28 days. Setting time, fitness, chemicals, composition. All these reflect the characteristics of an atom. When we see the requirements, the requirement represents the value assigned to each characteristics or during defining the presence or satisfactoriness of the characteristic. Like in case of cement, the compressive strength characteristic of cement at 28 days, how much? Requirement is expressed in terms of minimum newtons per square millimeter. When we say method of testing is to be defined in the inspection plan by making reference to a standard method of test, or in case of sample measurement by specifying the instrument used in the measurement. For example, in case of measurement of compressive strength of cement, making appropriate reference to the Indian standards on the subject, specify the test method. And the last is very, very important in managing the quality in store is the how to ensure the upkeep of the materials to be in the quality formats. To prevent any damage, deterioration, or misuse of product during storage, the following aspects to be considered. Correct identification of items and designated storage areas to prevent unintentional mix-up and associated misuse. Proper handling of the items in the stores, like use of pallets, conveyors, containers, vehicles, etc. Protective covers and coatings. Maintaining suitable environmental conditions such as temperature, humidity, clean atmosphere. Ensuring that items with limited shelf lives are not used after expiry of the items period. For this purpose, use of FIFO system for issue needs to be implemented. Secured storage areas, stock rooms to prevent unauthorized issue or use of items from stores. Proper segregation of items, especially those items that are hostile to each other. For example, storage of acetylene and oxygen cylinders together may result in an explosive atmosphere. So periodical checking of the stores to detect any possible deteriorations. The nature of verification is to be determined depending upon what is likely to deteriorate during storage. So appropriate methods for receipt into and issue for the stores to ensure that items of acceptable quality are only stocked and issued. In case of pre-dispatch, what is the requirement? So no issue of product from the stores before satisfactory inspection and testing finally in accordance with the specified quality control plans or documented procedure. It must ensure all inspection and test is specified either on receipt of product or during in-process stage carried out and results meet the specified requirements. The result of final inspection and testing should be documented and authorized by designated person before product is released. For in-house manufactured items, authorization for receipt includes certification by quality control department. So in case of large equipment, test certificate relating thereto are verified and delivered along with the equipment to the user. So in this session, we learned about the importance of quality management in the stores and in meeting the requirement of the customers or you can say end users. So the proper quality control practices will not lead just in reducing the overall cost of production operation, but also increase customer satisfaction and hence improving the profitability of an organization. So in this session, you learned about various aspects of inspections and testing employed by the stores to ensure the quality of products during the receipt and storage, and ultimately while delivering the same to the customer or user. Various sampling and inspection techniques and methods for maintaining the inspection and test records were explained. So this session also explained in detail like qualification of supplier, third-party certification, quality control practices during storage, how to inspect, to measure and test, use the testing equipments and identify the inspection and test status. Thank you.